Columbine High School, Sandy Hook, Stoneman Douglas High School are a few of the shootings that have taken place in the United States. And if we were to reflect on these horrific incidents, we would be forced to ask if there were no policies to protect these students or to reduce the incidence of school shootings in America. This learning journey presentation is not about guns or access to guns, but about the impact of the zero tolerance approach as implemented in many schools in the United States. You may ask, so what is the zero tolerance approach? A zero tolerance school discipline approach and practice occurs when a school has set consequences for named behaviors. This has to do with students who are uncooperative, disorderly, destructive, and show aggression towards others or endangering others. In a zero tolerance approach, the implication for the behavior outlined in the policy are issued without consideration to the context or justification for that student's behavior. According to Nelson et al. 2021, zero tolerance policies do allow schools to remove students who endanger the safety and well-being of others. But they go on to say they are more important as a deterrent. The writers also go on to say that these policies are designed to persuade young people not to engage in dangerous, disruptive, or disrespectful behaviors. The reality is that we want our schools to be safe, and it is always important to set policies to ensure that this takes place. I have always stated that a disciplined school requires consistent discipline at all levels. It is indeed a collective effort. However, when this collaborative effort focuses on one racial group or a particular interest group in that school, this leads to unfair consequences. The USA News Release published a report suggesting that there has been over 2,600 arrests of children between the age of 5 and 9. In one particular case in Orlando, Florida, a child aged 6 was arrested. While I will not show the video, I will ask you to read the exchange between the officer and the 6-year-old child. Having read the dialogue, you will see that I have concerns with what is taking place here, and you should too. According to the report, the 6-year-old girl was accused of kicking and punching 3 staff members at the school. She was placed in handcuffs and placed into the police car. The officer claimed that he had arrested thousands of people before, and this young child, age 6, had broken his record. While he was fired a few days later, the question is why the officer believed it was okay. It was okay for him to arrest a child. I have worked in 3 different countries, and the United States is the only place where police officers are consistently called in to arrest young children. My question is, was this situation connected to the zero tolerance approach? Current research shows that the zero tolerance approach may not be making schools any safer. However, let me say we have to be very careful in making such generalized statements. For example, in the case of Ethan Crumbley, the 15-year-old boy who went back to class after meeting with his parents and school official regarding a note he had written, that situation concerns me because he was allowed to go back into the class with a loaded firearm. He had written something that gave a warning sign. The teacher was aware of it and, based on what was happening, called for help. Notwithstanding, studies have highlighted that this zero tolerance approach has led to the disproportionate discipline of students of color. Researchers have now become increasingly focused on the impact of zero tolerance approach as it relates to the prison population. Yes, the prison population. Now let me go a bit further. This area of study is often referred to as the school to prison pipeline. The school to prison pipeline refers to a national trend whereby school policies and of course practices lead to the increased population in our prisons. While we do not want to spare the rod, or in today's context we would say implement a zero tolerance approach, it is clear that students of color and Hispanic students are more likely to get suspended or excluded from schools for similar offenses committed by their white counterparts. A key point highlighted in much of the research is that when students are suspended, they are at a distinct disadvantage as it relates to having no supervision. In addition, their social connections become very limited, which is essential for their development. And of course, at times, there is limited support systems. Researchers have also established that students who are suspended or excluded from schools have a higher risk at entering our prison population. Hence, this is cause for concern again. This point takes us back to the issue of our prison population. Yes, our prison population where blacks and Hispanics are overrepresented in this space. I would like for us to consider a few questions. Is there a racial bias going on? Is there an unconscious force of operation within our system that advocates for zero tolerance, that places students of color and Hispanic students on a pathway to destruction? Nina Pissarro puts it, it is time to explore alternative intervention strategies other than the zero tolerance approach. While there may be the need to exclude segments of the student population, it is essential that these students are provided with the necessary support and mentorship to guide them back on track. The issue of school discipline will always be present, but as educators, let's hold all students to the highest possible standards that we have. And I'm sure you know students will respond positively. Let me end by saying that every behavior management system used should be fair, transparent, and this will reduce the criminalization of some of our Black and Hispanic students. Thanks for listening.